Welcome to This Week in Public Lands, my new weekly roundup series of all of the crazy things happening in our national parks and public lands that you may have missed. On October 6th, the Trump administration announced approval of the Ambler mining road. This is a 211-mile industrial road that would cut straight through the fragile Alaskan wilderness, including 26 miles inside Gates of the Arctic National Park. This road will disrupt fragile Arctic tundra ecosystems, it will cut off the caribou migration routes, and would open the Brooks Range foothills to mineral mining. A previous federal review of this project found that it would cause, quote, significant and irrevocable harm to these ecosystems and to Alaska Native communities who still live and hunt on this land. Meanwhile, in Congress, the Senate approved a vast dismantling of land management plans in western states, including Alaska, Montana, and North Dakota, using the controversial Congressional Review Act. Now, these plans are blueprints for how the Bureau of Land Management oversees public lands. They were built for decades through local and tribal consultation, environmental review, and using science, balancing grazing, energy development, wildlife habitat, and outdoor recreation. But instead of protecting wildlife and communities, Congress is clearing the way for more mineral and coal-powered energy development on these public lands. And like a bad penny, you can always count on Senator Mike Lee to turn up with some shady shit. This time, he's introduced the so-called Borderlands Conservation Act. Despite the name, this bill does everything but conservation. The act would strip important protections from all federal public lands within 100 miles of the U.S. border. That includes places like Big Bend, Boundary Waters, the North Cascades, Glacier. This bill would completely undermine the Wilderness Act and allow massive construction of roads, bridges, surveillance equipment to be built in America's protected wildernesses, despite any evidence that such a buildup would do anything to effectively address unauthorized border crossings in those areas. Speaking of the border, through hikers on the Continental Divide Trail will now be required to hold U.S. citizenship and a specialized Army permit requiring a background check to complete the last 1.1 miles of their nearly 3,000-mile journey. In April, the federal government abruptly transferred over 100,000 acres of land along the border in New Mexico, which included the southern terminus of the Continental Divide National Scenic Trail. After months of uncertainty and just before the bubble of southbound through hikers are due to arrive, the Army has announced that a specialized permit will be required to access the terminus, which I should say are on your public lands. That means hikers will have to apply up to weeks in advance. They have to be US citizens and are subject to some sort of background check. That means that hundreds of hikers could walk nearly 3,000 miles just to be turned around 1 mile short of their goal. Brutal. Before I sign off, I just want to say, if you're horrified by what is happening, remember that most of these policies are deeply unpopular once people find out about them. And the government is counting on making these changes happen as quietly as possible. So the more you know, the more you share with your friends, your family, the better chance we all have of protecting the places we love most. See you next week.